The Biden administration has reportedly paused its plans to create a disinformation board. The Washington Post reported that head of the board, Nina Jankowicz, officially resigned from her role. Charisse, does it surprise you that the life of the disinformation board lasted this long or this short?
I'm happy to say that it doesn't surprise me in a country like America where we value free speech and open discourse so much, and historically in this country. I guess my first question when it started was, why is the government so interested in controlling information flow? Because obviously, if you're controlling disinformation, you're controlling information as well.
And it was so interesting how the timing of it coincided with Elon Musk
and Twitter.
Absolutely.
Bearing down on Twitter and saying we need to open up discourse in the public square.
Right, and the government shouldn't be taking pages out of the playbook of overbearing tech companies that like to shut down speech. That's not something that we should be seeing in this country.
What was interesting was that when this question was posed in the briefing room to the White House, the new press secretary simply, I guess, admitted that too much disinformation took down the disinformation board.
She is lost. I feel sorry for her up
Tell
there.
us how you really feel, Derrick.
If the Biden administration really cared about disinformation, then Biden would resign, because that's all we've gotten out of this White House is disinformation. So,
yeah. And it reminds me of tactics. I know we always make the Orwellian references, but it is still tactics that exist in the real world. China uses things like this to tamp down on dissent in their own country, behind their borders, as well as, behind the Iron Curtain historically. This was something we saw in East Germany, where people were getting reported for supposedly spreading dissenting information.
I wondered how long it was going to be before the left started burning 1984 as itself a vehicle of propaganda.
I don't think you could have a bigger example of disinformation than Biden. Half of his Twitter followers are bots.
yes.
Oh, that's right. We
That's
just saw a report saying more than 50% of his followers are not actually people. Wow.
Talk about misinformation.
I'm not surprised. We didn't have, I remember the inauguration, and there was probably like 15,000 followers, and so they knew they had to do something about it to make it look like somebody who actually got more votes than Obama was somehow, nobody was interested.
On a daily basis, when the White House puts out videos from the official White House account, you can always tell who's watching and who likes it and who dislikes it. The ratios between the likes and the dislikes on the White House YouTube pages are enormous. There's all these down votes and all these up, and not a lot of up votes. And it's little wonder that the Biden White House has silenced any ability to comment on these public videos. The Trump administration never did that.
Interesting.
Oh, and he would have been called a tyrant anyway.
Right.
Black Lives Matter co-founder Patrisse Cullors paid her baby daddy 5 times more in charity funds than the Trayvon Martin Foundation, according to the latest tax filings. These filings reveal Cullors paid a company owned by Damon Turner, a man whom she has a child with, $969,000 for live production, design, and media. Comparatively, she only gave $200,000 to the Trayvon Martin Foundation. Donna, as an accountant, what did they do wrong here?
Oh my God, so many things. First of all, I fought corporate America. You actually gave tens of millions of dollars to a corporation who never disclosed how the money was going to be spent. I mean, they never had a tax filing. Could that be?
They've never had, wait, they've never had a tax filing?
They've never done a tax filing.
Oh my goodness.
They're just, the only reason why they're doing a tax filing today is because California complained that they never received their revenue from them. We wouldn't hear anything about what's going on with this corporation and how the money is being spent had California not been, to piss off California, because they never received the ultra-liberal organization, but it had to come down to the money. They've never done a tax filing. They've never disclosed how any of their money has been spent. And
so wait a second, is it at all is it normal to pay a single individual $1 million if you're a charity organization. Isn't that
That's out of the ordinary.
isn't that a little beyond the pale, or are we overlooking
Your baby
something?
daddy is that?
I mean, it's suspicious to be able to, I mean, it's very suspicious for you to pay family members. That's always a no-no. They have no board oversight in terms of determining what those salaries are supposed to be. Those are things that are supposed to be concluded in terms of corporate governance before they ever enact this organization. Nobody actually understands the whole structure of this organization. It's never been disclosed. And if you trace it, the webs are so
Sure.
Interlinked with one another.
It's a
Sure.
bogus
that
organization.
nobody knows where the money is going. But it was only because that
The state of
California
California.
complained.
That's so ironic.
Because they never received their revenues, because they never filed, and they gave them so many days to file. That's why this information is coming out right now.
Is this a situation where they just believe that they were untouchable, that no one could really attack them for anything that they were doing, and
They
so
were living in the moment.
I think so, because I mean, anyone who tried to push back on the movement absolutely was lambasted with accusations of being racist or
Racist.
bigoted, and they couldn't speak up. There was no room for any dissent on that
Or
front.
if you were black who pushed back against the organization, then you're a Donald Trump follower.
Right.
And it's so ridiculous because Black Lives Matter, all lives matter. But the movement was distorted by this organization because where was Black Lives Matter in this Buffalo shooting? Haven't heard one word from Black Lives
or
Matter.
in the Roe v. Wade situation, black babies clearly don't matter to them.
Exactly.
Yeah, in New York, if you're a black fetus, you're more likely to be aborted than born.
That's exactly
It's
right.
a tragedy. The feud between President Biden and former Amazon president and CEO Jeff Bezos is heating up. Bezos took to Twitter this week to criticize Biden's suggestion that taxing wealthy corporations would help lower inflation. The White House responded by claiming Bezos was against helping the middle class, specifically Amazon workers, to which Bezos blasted the administration for attempting to, quote, muddy the subject. Derrick, your take on Bezos, the owner of the Washington Post, not exactly an enemy of the
At
Biden
all.
administration,
Not at all.
now coming out against Biden.
And think about this, this administration last 16 months since they've been in office, they put about $6.5 trillion, they spent $6.5 trillion, okay? And the thing about it is pouring more money into this economy is not going to fix it. You can't spin your way out of this situation.
Yeah.
And so that's what Bezos is saying to this
Right.
administration. And thank God for Joe Manchin putting a halt on that last $3.5 billion Build Back Better initiative that the president was trying, because we would be in even a worse situation right now in terms of this economy and inflation had that package been put through.
Everyone says this, but it's so basic. The more money the government injects into the economy, the worse inflation gets. That's a simple concept. Why is this so hard to understand, and why are they denying it?
But to something Donna was saying earlier, I mean, they rely on the fact that the American people just don't understand basic economic
That's right.
concepts.
Right.
They hope that no one asks any questions because of that. And I think it's really interesting that, or kind of ironic in a way, that they would accuse someone like Bezos, whose company relies on the middle class spending money on Amazon. Because it's not like the wealthy people
Yeah.
in the world are going on Amazon.com to purchase everything, right?
No, that's a great point.
And
Yeah.
I worked in the tax department. I've managed the tax department at Marriott. There's no way for you to raise taxes on a corporation that doesn't get pushed down to the consumer.
That's right.
So the price of every product, irregardless if if they make the wealthiest, as they claim, pay their fair share, it's going to affect our items that we purchase, our services that we get. That's just the reality of it, and it's going to affect it more.
And Walmart and Target had their earnings report out yesterday. They're all significantly down. Bezos and Amazon is feeling the same thing.
He had a loss for the first quarter.
Exactly.
Ever since Amazon has been in
In existence? Oh
In
my.
existence.
No, I mean,
Ever.
sure, that would cause someone like Bezos to come out and say something. It seems like more and more people are being, quote, red-pilled. They're being moved, maybe not necessarily to the Republican Party, but they're simply moving away from this concept of reckless government spending will fix everything. And that perhaps is the positive takeaway from all of this. When we return, we pay our respects to former White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki by revealing her biggest lie of all. Plus, we sit down with the one man unafraid to challenge her on her very last day at the podium,